Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Otaku Heaven coming at you with the first anime review in a long time. Today I'll be reviewing Ansatsuki Yoshitsu, or Assassination Classroom Season 2, Episode 1. And we start off where we left off last time. They're just about to finish up their summer vacation on the exclusive island they won as a result of being the top on the test, on the midterms, I believe it was. But anyway, they are just finishing up their vacation, and Koro Sensei has been trapped in the ball the whole time after using his defense mechanism. So he wants to have a lot of fun. He decides wants to play matchmaker. So he separates everyone up into caves, telling them scary stories, and boy and girl partners, trying to get them to form relationships. And halfway through the caves, after everybody's basically ignoring him, he does scare about the first half of them, but they move along because they realize it's Koro Sensei. And the other half managed to scare him all the way back until he made it out of the cave and I was just laying on his stomach. But in the cave, something interesting happened. Karma actually noticed how well Nagisa was when he fought against I believe it's Tankata, I forget his name, but it's the old recess teacher. But Karma is actually a bit jealous of Nagisa's ability to stay calm and cool and collective in the heat of the assassination that Karma still apparently thinks he cannot do, but he's jealous of Nagisa's strength, so Karma wants to obviously get stronger. And the whole time, they basically fail, and they're making fun of Koro Sensei, saying we're not as shallow as to be backed into a relationship like that, and we are not as scandalous as that. Then they actually see um, Professor Bitch, or Bitch Sensei, and Karasuma coming out, or Irina, if you want to call her that. Irina and Karasuma coming out, and Irina's hanging on to Karasuma's arm, and she's blushing and stuff, so you can tell that she really likes Karasuma. And then everybody, including the students, are like, maybe we are that scandalous because they want to hook up Karasuma and Irina, however you say it. But anyway, they go through this whole elaborate scheme where they take Irina and set her up on a date with Karasuma, and basically, at the end of the date, Irina couldn't get anything done except managing to tell Professor to tell Karasuma that she actually likes him, and has this little weird thing where she kissed a napkin and then gave an indirect kiss to him on his lips. But then what happened after that is Karasuma's denser than dense is what it actually said, but he's pretty fucking dense. He's like, what's with this new tactic? And then they move along. We actually get to see what happens after spring break. Nagisa actually winds up talking to her father, or sorry, his father, and he's still a bit confusing. Nagisa looks like a boy, but looks like a girl or a boy, so she's very gender neutral in that standpoint. But anyway, Koro Sensei plans to get another reunion coming back together, and they all manage to go to a festival where the whole time they're all just winning everything. The funniest one that stood out to me was Karasuma was actually playing a lottery that he knew was going to be bullcrap, but he spent all this money, I think 5,000 yen, to try to collect the prize. And then he did the odds and said, the odds aren't right. Should I get a cop over here? It's like, well, no, you can have your money back. And Karasuma was like, I didn't spend all my money to get my money back. I want that game console, pushing him forward. And Iso guy actually manages to catch a whole 2 bags of goldfish, and he's like, for 100 yen, you could have a meal. And the other classmates are shocked that he's actually going to eat them. The two sharpshooters, I forget their exact names, they managed to win all the prizes at the gun booth and were banished from the gun booth after that point. And on top of that, Koro Sensei's working all 3 or 4 booths the whole time, and then moving into booths as successful businesses closed down because Koro Sensei's just so fast delivering to all of the customers. But a little bit before that, when I cut back, the old class teacher actually got shot after he was invited by some guy that he calls himself the Reaper or the Shinigami, saying, do not fear the Shinigami, as he kills him, even though it didn't look like he was killing him because he wasn't holding a pistol or anything. So it's going to be really interesting to see what this character is actually made out of, or what his abilities actually are. And then moving along to the very end, we actually see Koro Sensei. We actually see Karasuma and a bunch of other ones talking about exactly how they should kill Koro Sensei, and they realize that team tactics are the best way to do it. Actually, Karasuma wasn't there, but a bunch of the top officials were talking about how to kill Korra Sensei and that team tactics were going to be the best way to do it. And they realized that since it's nearing the time of Earth being destroyed, that they need to be more serious about it. So they upped Korra Sensei's bounty to 30 million. So I'm going to be very interested in seeing what this new Reaper or Shinigami is supposed to be like, and what other new assassins it brings forward with with a 30 million berry bounty and the new training that Karasuma's talking about. Because after the whole date with Irina, Karasuma's like, this season is when we're gonna train harder than ever. This is what's gonna go down. We're gonna kick it into high gear this season. So what training they're gonna get is actually gonna be pretty interesting because it's gonna have to actually top the last season. Because the last season was just a bunch of regular combat and knife training and strength of mind training. So I'm very curious to see what the new training is actually going to be about. Overall, this episode gave a good bit of plot progression, some character progression, introducing new characters that we haven't really seen yet, and Irina actually falling for Karasuma. The plot progression is they're getting off the island and they've actually just it falls into character progression and plot progression, but introducing a new assassin. So we got a little bit of everything here, but it really didn't attract all the attention that you would expect from an opening season. So, or an open season premiere rather. So I'm gonna give this 7 out of 10 because it was pretty good, but it just wasn't amazing. It was on the lesser end of the Assassination Classroom episodes, but that's all, guys. Peace.